Let me give you a trigger finger. Got me? What up, party people? Today, and I'm speaking like this because this is so goofy. Alright, someone alerted me to this tweet. The religious hippie. And after looking at her channel, I see the religious part, not much of the hippie.
You always lying.
Although, that's kind of like geek dad life, right? A lot of geek, no dad, no life. Kind of false advertising. Toy anxiety, there's a lot of anxiety there. But anyway, so it was whenever I talk to my girlfriends who are looking for husband and good father for their future kids, there was always one reoccurring turnoff. Man children. Men who cosplay, even Lord of the Rings, which I don't understand what that's about. Obsessed with Lego, Marvel, Star Wars, and basically toys in general. The number one constant complaint I hear from women, not only my friends. Well, this heated up, as you can imagine. And she went on an hour live stream about it, in which she did a lot of backpedaling and explained the email that came from. I'm not going to go over that. I'm going to just touch on it here a little bit. I'm not going to completely do anything about it because it's a little less of what is needed. She kept backpedaling, saying, "No, I meant obsessive. There's a difference."
They're the same picture.
Never outlining where that goalpost is. I believe say at one point saying owning 1,000 action figures, which I'm well past. So, I want to start with looking at some of the comments. And I'm not blanking out anybody's name. If there's one thing that turns off a man, it's a woman who looks down upon his hobbies. Many of these are men who are in need of community, and this is the one thing that gives them that. Men are lonely, massively so. So there is hobby, and there is obsession. Most are hobbies. I thought that was very well put. This guy. It's why most of my friends are not old enough to be fathers and grandfathers. I don't care about Marvel, Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars. I'd rather talk about Christ, history, and how to fix this broken world. God, you sound so fucking boring. And of course, the religious hippie goes, "There you go."
Yes.
And I bet you with the history part, it's not even the interesting history, it's probably like the boring ass type too. Because this guy sounds boring. Look at that profile picture. Oh my God. Yep, that would be a bad sign. Any man playing with Legos or other toys may need help. The only exception is a man that is a dad who's playing with his kids. Yes. See right here, that backpedaling, you've lost it. Right there, you lost it. Even my child says so. I wonder if y'all heard that. I kind of like this because it shows something. You lost me at talk to my girlfriends who are looking for a husband. Sounds like gossip to me. And in case you're wondering, I find gossip unfitting to anyone who has the word religious in their handle. Laugh my ass off. Talking about their dating frustrations is not gossip. Sounds like you have a problem with rash judgment.
Oh my God! Wow!
Really? You've never complained once to your girlfriends about a bad date? Pathetic. Keeping in mind that when she did the live stream, she said that it was about an email she got from someone who wanted to stay anonymous. And honestly could be made up. The email states, basically, that some guy who was into nerdy stuff ghosted her. Like, only people who are into nerdy stuff can ghost. This is her response to somebody else. Agreed, weightlifting is really attractive to a lot of women. So is hunting, camping, and fishing. I've gone hunting before. It's fair. Got a 12-point buck when I did. It was bow hunting. But it's just not something that really interests me to do long term. Camping, well, there was that time the bear walked past the camp, so I kind of haven't been back since. Fishing. I don't like getting fish. Really don't. I mean, I can do it. I just don't want to. Well, or in general, a man who has actual adult hobbies. Who are you to say what is and isn't adult hobby? Judge lest you be judged. And you even said in one of your videos, judging is not a very Christian thing to do. Yeah, look in the mirror. And that's just a few responses I saw. But the point is, it's the backpedaling that kind of got me in the live stream, and it kind of got me digging further. And these responses, no, that's you meant it to sound like you said any at all, because your backtracking says otherwise. Okay, yeah, this is their channel. I don't know why it says I finished that since I just started it. Then this popped up on my feed. What I did watch is watch a good chunk of the live stream I was talking about right there. And this is the one I'm kind of interested in because I got up to where the cosplayer was. And maybe I clicked it to the end. I don't know. And then I went, I need to watch this with some reaction. I'm probably not the whole video. It's a 13-minute video. It's a bit long. But I'm going to do a little bit. This one, I saw this pop up on my feed. It said, getting my life back together. I'm like, oh, was there a tragedy? No, she just got out of her routine. And it was such weak sauce of how I got my routine back. So yeah, but by the way, I'm not doxing her right there. I'm going to be upfront about a few things. Amber is the name of an ex of mine. Rose was the last name of one of my exes, one of my big exes. You know, you got exes that kind of were important. Yeah. And she looks like a third ex. So, yeah, she's got 3 strikes already. But let's go through this.
Hello, my Jude crew. Amber here, coming at you from my studio. Yeah, we are going to be talking about something today that, quite frankly, has been getting out of control. That's right, we're talking about kidults.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yes, you heard that correctly. We are covering the topic of kidults today.
I swear to God, I am at the point where I'm about to say kidult is an offensive term. It's stupid. It's vapid. And it's made up. Look, we can say Oriental is an insulting term. We can say kidults is an insulting term, okay?
My wife has never cosplayed before. She is now getting into cosplay. She loves it. When I talk to her, she's like, why do you do it? I'm like, well, I get to be somebody that I'm not for a few hours, and I get to just act and be funny and be silly.
Grown-ups who instead...
What's wrong with that? I see no problems. Amber does.
of embrace the responsibility are out here collecting toys, obsessing over children's franchises, and avoiding...
Who the fuck obsesses over Teletubbies? Come on. I know she always says obsesses, not that enjoys.
anything and everything that remotely resembles adulthood.
I don't know what to do. I need an adult. I am an adult. I need an adultier adult!
And the worst part of all of this? Society's encouraging it.
I just want to say I hate that jumpy, zoom in, zoom out kind of cutting. Drives me fucking batty. Blah!
Adults refer to people who are technically grown up, but live as though they are teenagers still. Think of this. Just in your little noggin, think of this. Adults dropping hundreds of dollars on action figures, spending hours a day on video games, or freaking out over a new movie that was just released by Disney like they're 5 years old. And okay, look, a little nostalgia is fine. I'm not here to poo-poo on your...
What did she just say?
Released by Disney like they're 5 years old. And okay, look, a little nostalgia is fine. I'm not...
Nostalgia? Nostalgia? What is nostalgia? I'm being deathly serious. What is this nostalgia? You mean nostalgia?
I'm not here to poo-poo on your little nostalgia, dream or whatever.
Oh, that's another pet peeve. And the exes I was just talking about, one of them had that habit. She would say devastating instead of devastating, and she would just mispronounce words all over the place. And I'm like, you sound like a freaking idiot when you do that. And she's like, no, I don't. She did.
But when your entire identity is built around childhood obsessions, we have a problem.
No, you have a problem. You're the only one in the room with the problem.
I'm about to spill the tea. A recent report has even found that adults are now accounting for 28% of global toy sales. 28.
Reason being is that most of those sales are being marketed towards adults. It's nostalgia, as you said.
Nearly a third of the toy market is catering to people who should be paying mortgages, not hoarding stuffed animals. Okay.
Oh, paying mortgage is such fun. Mine's paid. None of your damn business. But mine's paid. So I can go out and buy some Valibers. Buy some Marvel Legends. Hell. Illegal shit. What business is it of yours what anybody does? I mean, seriously. Why do you care how people live their lives? This is the part I don't understand. You're more worried about how people live now, looking through her stuff. That's exactly what it is. In porn, dating advice. Da-da-da. It's how people telling people how to live their lives, which is annoying.
Okay, but why is this happening? Simple. Society has made it way too easy to not grow up. And let's be real.
See, here's the thing. She goes to kid adults and then she goes to not grow up. Every payday, my bills are paid. First and foremost. First thing done. Groceries are bought, household supplies. Then I'll start looking around at toys. I don't know how much more adult I can be on that one.
Adulthood is difficult. Bills, work, mortgages, kids, responsibilities. Not exactly.
Yeah, not helping your case exactly. Because all that shit's depressing. Heaven forbid we get something to bring some joy into it, right? Right? Because you care so much about how people live.
Exactly as fun as playing video games or eating, ice cream out of a Star Wars bowl, but it's much more fulfilling. But you know what's worse?
No, it's not. The fulfilling parts of my life are my family. That's it. My work ain't fulfilling at all. You'll find very few people who can say their work is fulfilling. I can think of one off the top of my head of my friends, and that's because he's a professional writer.
Worse than growing up. A world full of infantilized adults who cannot function.
A lot of these TikToks are people with mental issues, and I kind of try to avoid these because you can tell they have some mental issues that go deeper than being childish. I mean, it expresses itself in childishness, and I think it's very, very poor form to use this as your example of people who collect toys.
Outside of their hobbies or their parents' homes. And the Catholic Church has said a lot about maturity and what it means to be an adult and responsibility.
I don't care.
The Catechism.
Okay. I have to say this. I'm not against religion. Matter of fact, I went to church today. I'm against religion telling you how to live.
Of course, there are effects on that person, but it affects society as a whole. It's literally destroying families, society, the church. I mean, the church can't actually be destroyed, but it's definitely weakening the people of the.
Cite a source for this. Cite a source that action figure collecting, because this is what you're talking about. cite a source that says that's destroying society. Corporations are destroying society, and I can 1 to 2 line you up on that. Absolutely. But that's destroying society? No.
the church, and it's just been this whole thing that's just kind of been building up, and I think it really took off during COVID, and now we're just at this point where people just do not want to take responsibility for anything. Even making a phone call is too hard for people. That's
No, making phone calls is annoying because I talk to people on the phone all day. That's why.
it's not a quirk. That's a problem. Good decisions, not giving up when things get tough, not throwing a
What the fuck are you talking about? What does that have to do with liking Star Wars? Seriously. I need an A to B correlation here. I'm lost.
tantrum in the middle of the street, or
Again, people with mental issues.
when you hit somebody's car and that person runs you down and catches you, and then you throw this whole fit. You're not hurt.
That's disturbing because that looks like somebody who may have some problems.
Having self-control is just non-existent today.
Yes, because we've had so much control in history. Vlad the Impaler was the epiphany of control. I said that all wrong, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, I hate these people that act like all of a sudden things are bad. They've been bad. We're humans. That's why.
Instead, we are raising generations of people who believe that self-care means avoiding anything difficult and treating themselves like they're toddlers. And when it
Self-care is a tough one because you have to recognize, and some people do abuse it. I will agree. I will give you that. Some people abuse it and say, "Yeah, I'm self-caring now," and just do something irresponsible, which is not self-care.
it comes to prudence, fortitude, and temperance, these are the main three virtues that I see adults struggling with. And I think the reason for that is because, when it comes to prudence, which is wisdom and judgment, they have a hard time making decisions because their whole life revolves around feelings and fun, not logic and responsibility. And part of that is on their parents.
The hard part about this is that she's not proving any of this. She's not showing how society is worse because you know what? We have people who threw fits like that when I was a kid. They had mental issues. Is there more of them now? Maybe. I don't see statistics that say that they are, but yeah, I've seen those videos. Yeah, every time I'm pretty sure each of those people, in fact, I know several of them where it turns out they did have mental issues. And it's pretty obvious when you watch the video they had mental issues. I mean, they were might have been a slight danger to society there.
I think they definitely got coddled too much, and they had an iPad as a babysitter.
Well, I sure as shit didn't. They weren't even iPads when I was around. You're talking about Star Wars. Everybody in Star Wars is in the 40 to 50 age range, older than you. We didn't have iPads. We didn't have smartphones. None of this shit. So how can you sit here and say, "Oh, they were raised by iPads"? Fuck off.
But at the same time, they're adults now. They have a responsibility to not behave that way anymore and to better themselves. When it comes to fortitude, which is courage and perseverance, adults are often like hard things, commitment, no thank you.
Again, this is like, She's mixing things together, is what's going on here. Because it sounds like, the boomer complaints about the Gen Z and millennial generation, and mixing it in with this stuff that the older generation is doing. And it's like, you got it all backwards.
These people can crumble under the slightest inconvenience because they have never been taught how to be resilient. They were always just given whatever they want to stop throwing a tantrum, this or that, put in front of an iPad. They don't have self-control. And then, of course, that leads us into temperance, which is about self-control and discipline. Because we live in a world that is so instantly gratifying, people can binge watch Netflix, DoorDash their food, among other things, but they cannot sit still with their thoughts for more than 5 minutes. It's really sad. I also want to throw in here that if you are a kidult, I'm not trying to shame you, but I am.
Yes, you are. And let me get to that short attention span thing. Are things more convenient? Yeah. You know what? Just because you can go stream it now doesn't mean you're always going to be able to stream it. And people don't understand that. That generation don't understand that.
I'm trying to bring it to your attention that this is not healthy. Okay? Not healthy. I was a kidult up until I was about 21. I'm not lying. I have been here. I am where you are now if you are a kidult. And I want to tell you, it's so much better when you become an adult and you embrace responsibility.
I've been there. I know. I understand. I'm both an adult and childlike. I can tell you it is so much more fun when you embrace your true self and enjoy what makes you happy versus trying to please everyone else.
And you don't stay stuck in your adolescence. Just wanted to throw that in there real quick because I don't want you to think that I'm like bullying you or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you are. It's exactly what you're doing is bullying. You are shaming people for being who they are rather than trying to, I mean, what does action figures do to you? Nothing. Shut up.
And it might seem like bullying, but it is coming from a place of love and charity. Sometimes
Sounds like bullying, but it comes from a place of love and charity, so it's okay. That is the most effed up thing. That is abusive language right there. I have heard abusers say that.
bullying can be charitable.
Sometimes bullying can be charitable. That is. Whoa. Oh man, and it is that tweet was a bully tactic. That's what it is. It's even making you feel ashamed for what you are and hoping you'll hip to their jack. It don't work because I've seen better.
Also, I love this quote from Saint Jose Maria Escriva. He said, "Don't say, that's the way I am. It's my character. It's your lack of character."
I feel like I've been memed. I'm sorry, it's how I am.
I don't think I said that right.
You can't say nostalgia right. You're probably not saying that right. You're correct.
Be a man. Now let's talk about something that's a little less popular to talk about when talking about kidults, and that is how kidults and this prolonged adolescence is absolutely wrecking marriage and family life. And
I want to see what evidence you have of this. Specifically linked to Star Wars, Marvel, anything. You said action figures. So I need to see evidence.
out there who prolong their adolescence and then never get married or wait until they're 30 and then they find out that they actually.
So we're supposed to marry young? I mean, I've been married 3 times. I kind of know what I'm talking about here. Um, and you know what? I've never had a relationship end over my toy collecting. Never. I mean, it got brought up. Like, that's so stupid. You're such a kid. Like you're doing right now. In fact, the girl, I need to say, a little triggered because the ex that looks like her, that was her thing. It was that, she broke up with me for other reasons, but she got really, really mad and brought that into the breakup. Breakup argument, I should say. And yeah, I thought it was funny because we had dated for like a year, and you wait till now, really. And it's that girlfriend. It's that girlfriend thing. It's like, what's that joke? It's like, there's a meter that's like penis size of boyfriend. Starting out all right, and then the graph goes biggest I've ever seen. All right, after breakup, tiny. It's like funny how that works out, right?
Want kids or want to get married, etc., and then they mature too late, and then they realize they can't have kids, or it's like this whole thing.
I'm gonna point this out too. I did have a child late because I was being responsible for other people's children. My ex-wife, I was raising her children, 3 of them, because their dad was a deadbeat. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit because I think she's going somewhere, and I'm gonna jump on it.
It's been pretty prominent in secular media, but if you yourself are discerning your vocation, you're an adult, you're taking on responsibilities, etc., this is not targeted at you, which should be obvious by the title. But if you think you're a kidult, stop it. Get some help. No, for real though, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just
for that.
I'm a woman. I'm funny, but wait, no, I'm not. I'm a woman. That was also a joke. Please don't cancel me.
She's trying to be funny, and she's actually beating me to my jokes.
Anyways, okay. Prolonged adolescence impacts marriage and families. For centuries, people got married young, they had kids, and built a strong family unit.
I don't study history. I don't study history at all. I don't understand that. This is a myth. This is not what actually happened. There were tons of deadbeat dads, single moms, In fact, there were laws that allowed women to own property if their husband had passed. Or, quote, left. There was abandonment. My great-grandfather, went to the store in 1921. Did not come back until 1932. Divorce was illegal then. You couldn't get one. So him and his wife were still technically married, but he did not come back to the house for 12 years. And I think the only reason my great-grandmother allowed him back in was because he was making more money. They needed some money to eat. I mean, you do what you have to do. But point is abandonment was a thing. And it wasn't like he had this nuclear family, as we like to call it, all over the place. That hardly ever happens. Well, I shouldn't say hardly ever happens. It does happen. But this strong unit, used to be that's what we did. Not always. There's plenty of examples of not always.
But today, nope. None of that.
Can't do it. Not today.
Everyone's
In fact, my grandfather on my dad's side. I was talking about my mom's side just a minute ago. My dad's side, my dad's father died when he was 14 years old. Sent him into a chaos. My grandmother had to work her ass off to keep, just them two eat, living in a house and alive, basically. I mean, they did.
too busy finding themselves and living their best life instead of preparing for their vocation, whether that's religious life, consecrated single life, or marriage, young adults are out here saying, I'm not ready for commitment. While
Consecrated single life. I think she's meaning like you go into. I'm assuming that means some kind of priesthood or something. Catholic, no. I mean, I'll say this. I wish I waited a lot later in life to get married.
simultaneously blowing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on Disneyland trips and anime merch. And then it
Never been to Disneyland. Sorry.
comes to kids, right? Kids, too much work. Better to just keep playing video games and pretend that I'm still 16 because I'm a child at heart too. Kids.
I mean, I wanted kids a lot sooner than I had mine. But again, she's talking apples and oranges. Some people, it's economic, man. I mean, it's tough raising a kid in this economy because there ain't jobs out there. And the jobs that are out there, they don't pay enough. They don't pay enough for one person to survive, let alone two.
Raising kids, even though you're 32. Adult culture has really.
So what? You're 32 and you don't want kids. I mean, people are very judgy. It's like, why don't you want kids? It's like, you know, I don't care if somebody don't want kids. It's their business. I've never asked. You know, I know couples who never had kids.
Turned men to be weak. Also kind of communicated to women that being a mother is beneath them. So it's no surprise that Pope Pius XI said the family is more sacred than the state, and men are begotten not for the earth and for time, but for heaven and eternity. Yet here we are, replacing faith and family with fandoms and consumerism. There has...
You know, that's a lot to unpack. I can get behind replacing faith and family with consumerism. That, yeah, corporations have taken over and they are just ripping apart everything we ever loved about anything to try to get the money out of our wallets. This is a reality. That's not what she's talking about, though. She's talking about how dare you worship at the altar of Marvel rather than worship at the altar of Jesus. Sorry, like I said, I went to church today and I couldn't help but laugh because somebody said, Lord, we know you're on the throne. And man, my wife started laughing. I started laughing. Like he's sitting there on his phone scrolling through God book. Oh, gosh. You may think that's sacrilegious. My dad was a preacher. He loved it. He was also once a priest.
Make it make sense. Instead of
I can say the same thing to you. You're talking 4 different things.
being, helpful people in the community, they're just glued to their screens. They're completely disconnected from the people around them outside of their close friend circles. And even then, most of those close friend circles are probably online. I don't even want to get started on the whole AI girlfriend, boyfriend.
What? Why did it okay. You jump from locked in on their screens, our friends are online. Oh, now again, these are tethers that don't connect. Oh. Stick to one topic. You have yet to show how any of what you said is leading to problems with relationships. You have an anecdotal one anecdotal one that you won't identify. Okay, I will identify by first names some of mine anecdotally. Josh and Heather. I was there when they met. They're good friends of mine. They have been married for almost 20 years. Geeky as hell. I can say they don't want kids. I didn't ask the reasons. But they have had a very fun marriage from the time they met. Scotty. Again, first names only. Scotty has been married for a good 8 years. He has 2 wonderful children and is happy as hell. Brian. owns a comic shop I frequent. He, again, just met this woman, does not have children, does not, I don't think he wants children. He never really came up in conversation. But, you know, they're together, they're happy, very supportive of each other, try to help each other. Let me see. Ryan from the 3POA. I consider Ryan a friend. He's got a great relationship with his wife, from what we can see. Granted, now that when there's more distance, you can't tell exactly who the perfect, if there is, but just on camera it seems that way. Chad and the ma'am, yeah. Ninja and his family, yeah. I mean, boom, tons of anecdotal examples of nerds with women, and it works just fine. Now, anecdotally, because you're using an anecdotal example with your one email that you won't name, I have to say the least responsible, the least courteous, the least family oriented, the ones who will knock up women and leave, have been almost universally, from my point of view, in some type of construction, welding, auto mechanics, those kind of trades. Now, I can say, gosh, those mechanics, they just don't care about family. But that would be false, because I'm making a universal statement. A statement you have made which is not true, and you haven't yet to show any evidence of. You're going to say this is what's destroying relationships right now. Prove it. Don't just say it, prove it.
Friend thing. That just, I don't even, I realize my TV turned off in the background. I don't know how long it's been off for, but sorry about that, whatever. So per usual, this is not a channel of despair and constant negativity, but instead I want to give you tools to help combat this. If you are a Cadult, you know someone who's a Cadult, or you just need to deal with a Cadult. Catholicism is not anti-fun, okay? It's not.
I know a lot about Catholicism. You're lying.
But joy or happiness is not the same thing as perpetual adolescence. The problem is not that people enjoy hobbies like airsoft or video games or watching one of their favorite Marvel movies. The issue is that they let it consume their entire life, their entire personality. There is a massive difference.
No, what you're talking about is that people are irresponsible. You don't talk about the irresponsibility. You're only talking about the surface level stuff that they do. And in doing so, you've made a generalized statement about people who are into hobbies that you don't like. And in saying that, you've proven yourself very fucking wrong. But now you're backtracking, saying, oh no, it's not that. No, you should backtrack and talk about the irresponsibility. That's your point. It's not just the hobbies. I know people who obsess about hunting. You're not talking about them. But you mentioned hunting as an adult hobby. I mean, to the point that they are irresponsible with every other thing. Okay? Any hobby, adult or child, can do this, but you're not talking about them. You're talking about this specific hobby. Therein lies your problem. You're linking one set of hobbies to a behavior that is bad, instead of pointing out all hobbies can do this. And then you say things like, oh yeah, adult hobbies. This is why I went over those tweets a little while ago. I wanted to show This is not what she's saying. She says, oh no, it's okay. That's the backpedaling. No, you didn't say that. You had the chance and you didn't say that. You said the exact opposite, and I'll put the tweet up right now to prove it to you. Your words under your Twitter.
Between having a healthy interest in a hobby and making your entire personality revolve around childhood nostalgia.
Now, why did she say nostalgia right that time?
I want to be clear here. Leisure is good when it's oriented towards God. Rest is important.
Who's getting drunk and doing the Lord's work?
Leisure is good when it's oriented towards God. I've never heard that in my life, and that's... I may clip that.
Even God rested, but moderation in everything is key, and with moderation comes virtue. You need to have virtue in order to have moderation. And I guess the most important thing is being an adult means you prioritize your faith and your vocation over any and all entertainment. That also includes this YouTube channel. But please stay, because I'm poor.
As long as I can make money, I don't care if you lose your hair or become bloated.
Which makes me think this is engagement farming, right there. I know it's meant as a joke, but it really and truly sounds like engagement farming.
Paul said, when I became a man, I did away with childish things, and you should too. At the end of the day, I don't think...
I've had somebody quote that to me about my action figure collection, and I look at them and I'm like, then why is this marketed to adults? They didn't have an answer. They argued with me about the marketing until I pointed out a few things like HasLabs and stuff. And then it was like, okay, yeah, you're right. This is marketed to adults. I mean, it's the company saying it's an adult thing. And they've been doing it for a decade. They're not making new IPs.
I think this is really all that complicated.
Also, she keeps talking about Marvel movies. Marvel's has fucked up their own movie studio to the point Daredevil can't make it. Yeah. And Star Wars too. Disney has screwed up everything. So she's also not knowing what she's talking about.
The main message here is grow up and accept responsibilities. Live your faith.
Okay, tell that to the deadbeat mechanics and the deadbeat welders and the deadbeat hunters. Tell that to them. If you had said just that, nobody would care. Nobody. And I know you think this is a hateful stuff because she said that kind of stuff that I just read off was hateful. That ain't hateful. Very well said. I can be hateful.
Find your vocation. Stop running from responsibilities, because true happiness is not found in escapism. It's found in fulfilling the role that God made for you, specifically you. And if that offends you, again, not trying to offend...
I'm sorry, I'm not a fatalist. You need to have fatalism to believe that, and I'm not. Doesn't offend me in the slightest. I can talk religion. But, I'm not a fatalist. I don't believe there's a plan. So that you can't tell me that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe God, okay, but if I am a fatalist, okay, maybe God intended me to be a action figure collector, a curator, if you will.
And you, but maybe you should be asking yourself why it offends you. Critical thinking, something that's been illegal in this country, it feels like.
Yes, please use it.
Like for the last 15 years. Anyways, guys, point is, I love you guys. I hope you guys are going to have a great rest of your day. Stay sane, stay Catholic, stop acting like a child. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!
Stay sane, stay Catholic. Okay, everyone, bringing it back down. So yeah, I cut that video up a lot because I was... Honestly, I didn't want to get into the religious aspects, even though I did a little bit. Partly because, I don't want to turn into a religious discussion anyway. And, there's a lot that can be said there. But, like I said, my major issue here is telling people how to live their lives. And that bothers me. Especially when she's talking about my action figure. But, you know, the major thing is she's going to several different areas and she's not concentrating. She's talking about your responsibility with family. Okay. Again, anecdotally is all she's got. I provided anecdotal evidence. She's going off about action figure collecting, and that's the cause. But she doesn't point out there are other vocations that goes on in. And anecdotally in my life, more so in those vocations. I mean, and the reality is, all you have is anecdotal evidence. You can't possibly produce anything that backs one way or the other. But again, why make such a conclusion? Why make such a broad generalization? And backtrack, oh no, it's okay to have hobbies, but then says these hobbies are bad in her tweets. Again, I've shown them. She does say this. That one tweet she only says obsessive, but in her live stream she's like, oh no, that's not what I meant, but you keep saying it. So you're welcome to go to the video. I did cut out a lot of stuff, and it still was pretty long because there was just a lot to say. But you're welcome to it. It's easy to find. Then, you know, don't forget to do all the stuff you're supposed to do and the like. And, well, hey, thank you for watching. Take care. And have a good day.